Disclaimer: this content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. It was just another quiet Friday evening. I had planned to wind down early, maybe curl up on the couch with a warm cup of tea and a good movie. The week had been long, and all I wanted was a night of peace and uninterrupted sleep. But things took a turn the moment my stepson called, asking if he could stay over for the night. Of course, I said yes. He was family, after all. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary, just a simple night under the same roof. He arrived a little later than expected, just past 9 p.m. There was something different about him. He wasn't the same boy I remembered from past visits. He had grown, taller, more confident, more aware. His presence filled the room in a way I hadn't noticed before. We made small talk over dinner, catching up on life and laughing over silly memories. But as the evening wore on, something unspoken lingered between us. A tension that wasn't there before. Subtle glances, quiet pauses, the kind of energy that can't be explained, only felt. I tried to shake it off and stick to my usual routine. I changed into something comfortable and went to bed early, hoping to escape the strange vibe I couldn't quite name. But sleep didn't come. I could hear his footsteps in the hallway, feel the faint vibrations of the TV in the guest room, sense his presence even when he wasn't near. Hours passed, and every time I thought I'd drift off, something would pull me back. Sometimes it was a door creaking, sometimes just my own thoughts running wild. At one point, I got up to grab a glass of water and found him sitting alone in the living room, the soft light of the lamp casting shadows on his face. He looked up at me with eyes that said more than words ever could. Neither of us spoke. That moment hung in the air, heavy and quiet, charged with something neither of us wanted to name out loud. I went back to my room, but rest? That wasn't happening. What happened next is something I'm still trying to process. It wasn't loud or dramatic, it was subtle, slow, and deeply personal. That night changed the way I saw him, and maybe how he saw me. There are lines in life we think we'd never cross, until one night makes us question everything. So now I'm left wondering, was it just one of those moments that come and go, or did something shift between us for good? Have you ever had a night that turned your whole perspective upside down? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Was I just reading too much into everything, or was there more to it? If you've ever experienced an unforgettable night that left you questioning what's real and what's not, drop a speech balloon in the comments or vote in the poll. Would you have handled things differently? I lay there in bed, staring at the ceiling, the dim glow of the hallway light creeping through the crack under my door. My mind kept replaying that silent moment in the living room. There was nothing dramatic about it, just a glance, a stillness, but it carried weight. I couldn't tell if it was just me feeling something or if he felt it too. That uncertainty was the hardest part. I could hear the soft hum of the TV from the other room and the occasional shifting on the couch, like he couldn't sleep either. It was strange. We were never this close before. He usually kept to himself during visits, polite, friendly, but distant. But this time felt different. He asked more questions, stayed closer, lingered in conversation longer than usual. Maybe it was just the mood of the night, or maybe something had changed between us without either of us realizing it until now. There was no denying he'd matured, his voice deeper, his posture more assured, the way he looked at me no longer felt like a child looking to an adult. It was steady. Grown. Curious. I pulled the blanket over me, hoping to calm the growing tension in my chest. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face in that low lamplight, how his expression wasn't just blank or bored, but thoughtful. Watching. Waiting. And I couldn't stop thinking, what was he thinking? What did that silence between us mean? Around 2 a.m., I heard soft footsteps again. Not loud, just enough to catch my attention. They stopped near my door. My breath caught for a second. I didn't move. Nothing happened. A few moments passed, and then I heard him walk away again, back to the living room. I had no idea what he was doing or why he was even still awake, but I knew I wasn't the only one who couldn't sleep that night. Something was building, slow and quiet like a storm you can't see, but feel in your bones. And still, neither of us said a word. I wondered if he was lying awake too, thinking about the same things, questioning that glance, that silence, that shift. But neither of us made a move. Not yet. Have you ever been in a moment like that, where nothing is said, but everything is felt? Let me know in the comments. What would you do if someone close suddenly felt different? The next morning came too soon. I barely slept, and when I finally did drift off, it was shallow and restless. I came out to the kitchen just after sunrise, trying to act like everything was normal. He was already there, making coffee like he'd lived there for years. He looked calm, too calm. I, on the other hand, felt like I hadn't taken a full breath since the night before. He smiled at me, casual, like nothing had happened. Or maybe he was pretending, like I was. We sat in silence for a while, the kind that isn't uncomfortable but isn't exactly easy either. I sipped my coffee, trying not to overthink every word or look. But it wasn't just in my head anymore. The way he looked at me wasn't the same. He paid closer attention. He noticed small things, like the way I tucked my hair behind my ear or how I stirred my cup. Things people don't usually notice unless they're really watching. Later, I asked if he had plans for the weekend. He shrugged and said he didn't mind staying another night if it wasn't too much trouble. I hesitated before answering, and he noticed. Only if you want, he added, his tone soft but knowing. I nodded, not trusting myself to say more. Throughout the day, the energy between us kept shifting. We were never in a rush to say goodbye to a conversation, and even quiet moments felt full. He helped me fix the drawer in the hallway cabinet, and I caught myself noticing how close he stood behind me. At one point, his hand brushed mine, not on purpose, but not completely by accident either. Neither of us pulled away quickly. That 1 second stayed in my mind longer than it should have. I kept asking myself, was I imagining all of this? Or was he feeling it too? Was there something deeper going on, something we both weren't ready to name? Or was it just curiosity playing tricks on us? I don't know how long we can stay in this strange middle ground, where nothing's happened, but everything feels different. And the longer it goes on, the harder it gets to ignore. What do you think? Is this just tension building up to nothing, or is something real underneath it all? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you do in a situation like this? By the time evening came around, everything felt louder, even the quiet. Every word, every movement between us felt charged, like we were walking on a wire stretched too tight. I tried to keep the day light, to distract myself with small things, cleaning the living room, folding laundry, pretending I didn't feel the air shift every time he came near. But he noticed. He always noticed. He watched me closely, but not in a way that felt threatening, more like he was waiting for something. Like I held the answer to a question he hadn't dared to ask. I caught him more than once standing in the doorway, just looking at me, not saying anything. And every time I looked back, he didn't turn away. He held my gaze, calmly, like he wanted me to know he wasn't afraid of what was happening between us. Dinner was quiet. The kind of quiet that says everything words can't. We sat across from each other, only inches apart, yet the tension felt like a wall. At one point, he reached across to pass me the salt, and his fingers brushed mine again, this time slower, deliberate. I didn't pull away. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him, and for a second, I thought he was going to speak. But he didn't. He just smiled, the kind of smile that tells you he knows what he's doing. Later that night, I found him out on the back porch, sitting under the dim porch light, a blanket around his shoulders and a drink in his hand. I joined him without saying anything. The night was quiet, the kind of stillness that only happens when everyone else is asleep. He looked over at me and asked, "Do you ever wonder if some moments are supposed to happen, even if they don't make sense?" I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. Because yes, I had been wondering that all day. We sat in silence again, the kind that doesn't ask for noise. I could feel my heart racing. I knew something was about to happen, or maybe we were both too scared to let it happen. But the pull between us was undeniable now. What do you think? Should they keep ignoring what's clearly there, or finally speak the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me how you think this will unfold. The silence on the porch stretched longer than it should have. We both sat there, staring out into the night, pretending the weight between us wasn't getting heavier with every second. I could feel his eyes on me now and then, like he wanted to say something, but couldn't find the right words, or maybe he was waiting for me to say them first. I didn't. I couldn't. Just when I thought the night had reached its peak, his phone buzzed. He didn't check it at first, but the screen lit up again, and this time, he looked. His face shifted, only slightly, but enough that I noticed. His jaw tightened, and he put the phone face down without a word. My curiosity got the better of me. I asked, "Everything okay?" He hesitated before nodding. "Yeah. Just someone I used to talk to." The way he said it was too casual to be true. I didn't push it, but something about the moment changed. That peaceful, quiet tension between us now had an edge to it, like something had been interrupted, a layer we hadn't accounted for. My heart beat a little faster, not just from the closeness, but from the unknown. Who had texted him? Why did it bother him? And why was I suddenly jealous? We both fell quiet again, but it wasn't the same calm anymore. He stood up a few minutes later, stretched, and looked down at me. "I'm going to get some water," he said. "You want anything?" I shook my head, trying not to show how thrown off I was. But the moment he disappeared inside, I couldn't stop my thoughts from racing. Maybe I wasn't the only one he shared this kind of connection with. Maybe I was just reading into something he'd already moved past. When he came back out, he looked distant. Still kind, still soft-spoken, but guarded now. Like a door had closed. And I didn't know if it was because of that text, or because I hadn't said what I should have when I had the chance. Do you think I missed my moment? Or was it never really mine to begin with? Let me know in the comments, what would you have done in my place? I stayed on the porch long after he went back inside. The breeze had picked up, cooler now, brushing against my skin and only making the silence louder. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of everything, trying to decide if the tension between us was real or just something I wanted to believe. That message on his phone changed things. Or maybe it just exposed what was already fragile. Eventually, I stood up and walked back in. The house was quiet, lights dimmed. I found him in the living room, sitting on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, head down like he was lost in thought. When he saw me, he straightened up. There was something in his eyes this time, more direct, like he wasn't going to pretend anymore. "I need to say something," he said, voice low but steady. I nodded, my throat dry. That message earlier, it was from someone I used to talk to, yeah. But I haven't replied to her in weeks. I didn't want you to think I was hiding anything. But tonight, I felt like I needed to be honest. I didn't interrupt. I let him talk. He looked at me carefully, then added, "Being here, with you, it's messed with my head. I know I shouldn't feel what I'm feeling. I know this isn't supposed to happen. But I can't lie and act like it's not real. Something shifted between us, and I've been trying to ignore it, hoping it would pass. But it's not going away." My heart was pounding. I felt frozen. Not because I was shocked, but because I had felt the exact same thing. Still, I couldn't find the words. He stood up, walked toward me, but stopped a few feet away, respecting the space. "Say something," he said softly. I took a breath. I don't know what this is, but I've felt it too. And I've been trying to pretend it's nothing. But it's not nothing. Just as I said it, a knock came at the door. We both turned, startled. It was past midnight. He looked at me, confused. I walked to the door, heart in my throat, opened it slowly, and froze. Standing there was his mother. My partner. The one person who shouldn't have been anywhere near this night. What do you think she heard? Or worse, how much did she already know? Tell me in the comments, what would you do if you were in this moment? She didn't say a word at first. Just stood there, framed in the doorway, her eyes flicking from me to him and back again. My heart dropped. The timing couldn't have been worse. The quiet tension between us now felt like it was being dragged into the light, and there was no taking it back. He stepped forward before I could say anything. "Mom," he started, his voice steady but tight, "what are you doing here?" She glanced down, then back up. "I left something important here. I figured you'd both be asleep." Her tone was calm, too calm. I couldn't tell if she was just playing it cool or already knew everything. Either way, the damage was done. The energy in the room had shifted completely. I invited her in, trying to act normal, trying to hide the weight of everything that had just been said moments earlier. We made small talk, awkward and forced. She didn't stay long, just enough to grab a set of keys and a folder she'd left. Before she walked out, she looked at both of us and said, "Get some rest. Long night." And then she was gone. The door clicked shut, and for a moment neither of us moved. Then he let out a slow breath. "Do you think she knows?" I shrugged. If she didn't before, she probably does now. We both laughed, nervous, shaky, but real. And in that moment, something shifted again, but this time it wasn't tension. It was release. Like the weight we'd been carrying all night had finally hit the floor. We didn't talk much after that. We just sat down, side by side, and watched the night turn into morning. No plans, no promises, just quiet understanding. Not everything needs to be defined right away. Some feelings take time. And maybe this was one of those things we wouldn't completely figure out, but we couldn't ignore anymore either. Whatever happens next, at least we're not pretending anymore. What do you think, was this the right ending? Or just the beginning of something more complicated? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know if you'd want to see a sequel to this story.